everybody, this is the Rabid Hedgehog, and this is going to be my ride and review of the 2018 Harley-Davidson Street Bob motorcycle. I did the 2017 not too long ago, with 2018 of course being a major change in that they went to the Softail platform for even the Street Bob. And as you can see now, sporting the Milwaukee 8107. Now as you can tell, this bike is smaller than the predecessor it had. This one weighs 653 pounds in running order. This bike also starts at about $14,499. And this is in Wicked Red and Twisted Cherry is the two colors of this particular motorcycle. This particular one does not have the side deal here that you adjust the shock. It actually will adjust under the seat with a spanner wrench. Now, a lot of things have changed. Like I said, shorter bike, and both ways, length and height. You look at the bike itself, it's a more narrow profile because 3.5 gallon gas tank versus the 5 gallon gas tank of the original. Still the bob fender, still everything else looks pretty much the same. Not quite like a Softail Slim, but fairly close because Softail Slim still has more of the beach bar style. It still maintains the mini 8s. For this year, you've got a 2.14-inch-ish LCD screen here. Whenever you turn it on, you'll see you have your fuel gauge, miles an hour. You can have a digital tachometer there. You can have 2 trip odometers. Also, the regular odometer, remaining fuel, and clock as well. There is a gear indication that will pop up over here in the corner. Down here, you have your fuel light. You have bright, neutral, and oil, ABS if equipped, security, turn signal for the right, turn signal for the left, tire pressure monitoring system. As I've said before, something might be coming here pretty soon, might be a requirement. And then you have your cruise control, service engine light, battery, and fog lamp. Everything else is standard Harley-Davidson. You got start, stop, and engine start. You have bright, off, and flash. And of course the trip, change, horn, left and right, turn signals. Let's get this thing ready to ride. Ha! Up front, you do have the new LED style light that's available on every new Softail model. And I don't know how that looks at night because I always ride in the day for these reviews. My, I have to say this bike has a good pull to it. Woo! Yeah, really good pull to it. Super light bike, 107 engine, 110 foot-pounds of torque still being produced. Probably not all getting to the rear wheel, but with as light as this bike is, one twist of the throttle, and this one seems to take off quite a bit better. Let me get up to more of a highway speed. Get her in top gear and see if she has that roll-on problem that the Fat Bob with the 114 had. If she don't, then there's something a little bit different between the two of them and where they make their power. Alright, still in top gear. The engine does not produce the power expected. So if you're on the highway and you're still at the 60 mile an hour range, you want to actually truly be in 5th gear, and that way you have a roll-on power, which you very much will do in 5th gear. But in 6th gear at highway speed, 6th gear truly is just a flat-out overdrive. Now this is much different than its original counterpart. I feel like I'm sitting more inside the bike. Of course, that is something that's a hallmark of the chassis for the Softail, is you sit more into it. It's a lower bike, 25.8-inch seat height. You still have mid-mount controls, as you can tell. I'm highly tucked in here, though, And that's because this is a more narrow bike, and for somebody my size, the original Fat Bob, which my knees would be out to about there, would work a little bit better because now I'm in an awkward position as I ride. So it is a much more narrow bike, kind of lending it to being more towards smaller riders than the original Street Bob. Visibility out of the mirrors are great. I know I've got that little thing on there again, but it actually doesn't bother me. I can still see through it, but visibility looks great. Stable on the road. Chassis very flickable. Very, very flickable chassis. Digital speedometer and fuel gauge and everything up here, very readable very quickly. Easy to see. Engine braking is very good. Unlike the... Oh man, wow. This little guy likes to turn. I like this actually quite a bit. It's a little bit too narrow for me, so as a long-range rider, I'd be uncomfortable, but for scooting around town, that's pretty dang fun right there. Let's go down this road here and find my little jump here. See how the suspension feels on this one. Now, as I mentioned before, the Fat Bob had fantastic suspension. Inverted fork, of course, the same system as this one. This one has a traditional fork, which means more unsprung weight, and the same monoshock under the seat. Here's this bump. Oof. Oh. A lot more jagged going over that bump because of that fact that it is a traditional fork. You feel it a little bit more than you do with an inverted. God, this thing just pulls. Good gracious, does this thing pull. Little guy got pull. That's for sure. Man. I just look so cramped up on it though, versus the old style. I would still prefer to be out like that. Get some forward mounts on this bike. It would be perfect. Once again, that's the same complaint I had before. But on this new chassis is just so much more alive. In fact, I'm enjoying this bike more than I did the Fat Bob. I like the Fat Bob, but this one feels more Harley. The Fat Bob was smooth, quick, agile, and powerful, a lot more modern looking. And this one, because I guess the way it is, the traditional fork and everything, you can still feel some vibration actually through it versus the Fat Bob. I mean, this thing is pretty dang cool. Transmission is slick on this bike too, I might add. It's a very clean transmission. It's just like a sport bike transmission. Weird to say that on a Harley, but it's quiet. It doesn't have any clunk at all. And whenever you click it, it just goes. I mean, it just click and you're done. You don't have that thunk, thunk like in the old days. Just a nice, simple little click in. Very good engine braking. I need to check regular brakes here in a second. See if it's got that same problem. But this is just all engine braking and I'm coming almost to a halt. Got to actually power up a little bit. Now there is a single disc brake system on the front, single disc rear. It's not like the Fat Bob, which had 2 discs on the front. God, this thing just takes off. Clutch response is much quicker than I'm expecting. It is still cable operated. That car wasn't behind me and tried those brakes out. Let's hit some bumps here. Yeah, it definitely rides a lot rougher than the Fat Bob, but much better than the original. But I just feel so compact on this bike. I mean, my knees are starting to come above the tank even. if I'm trying to find a way to sit on it to make it work. Like I said, great for around town. This little booger, maneuverable, powerful, good looking. I like the way this one looks. So just a lot of power in this bike. The old one weighed closer to 700. I'll put the comparison in the description, but yeah, this one, it just feels so good. I mean, flickable, dives into a turn, you don't expect it to do that, and it actually gets down in there and works. Okay, let's do this. Oh, the back brake is worthless again. I mean, I'm mashing that thing. I'm not even getting it to lock up. Golly. I mean, I put a lot of effort into that back brake there just to see what it would do, and I got nothing out of it. And this bike is not an ABS bike. Front brake has adequate bite. Back brake, once again, just like the Fat Bob. I'll do another test of it here in a moment. But it just does not seem to be there. Oh, this thing is just so lovely. Oh man, come on. Yeah, no. Can slow down better with engine braking. Good golly, guys. Alright, same complaint. No back brake. I know that some people say that when it comes to a sportier bike, they try to bias to the front, not the back, so it seems like the back brake doesn't exist. You know, this is a bigger, heavier cruiser. You don't want one brake being used over the other. You want to be able to use both brakes with confidence. The back brake is simply not there on the two Softails I've rode so far. Just not enough bite at all. However, I've got enough here to say that this is definitely an approved bike. If you're a little bit smaller than I am, like I said, I'm 6 foot tall. I weigh around 238, and I'm very compact on this bike. I mean, trying to smash myself into it because it's very much a smaller bike than its old Dyna chassis. But it is a much more pleasurable ride than the original chassis. It's a much more powerful bike than it was originally. And it's just fantastic. I mean, it does everything very well. That clutch response is literally right off the handlebar, which is abnormal for a Harley. Usually you're waiting for midway, but this one's like right there. That could be just the way this one's adjusted. Yeah, this thing's just stupid fast. Anyway, I recommend this bike. I mean, if you're a brand new rider, it's a light enough bike. It's got handleable power. I mean, you can mash it and go, or you can just kind of easily roll on it and it will be polite to you as well. Well, I mean, overall, fantastic new package for the Street Bob. It's a more likable bike to me now, just a little bit too small for the Hedgehog. At any rate, everybody keep that shiny side up. You all have a good one, and we'll catch you on the next review.